The best characters from 2020 are now finally going to be getting their resurrection tomorrow. Not these characters yet, unfortunately, but considering we're one premium batch of resurrections away from getting them, we could definitely see them around January time or even by the time the end of the year banner does get revealed, so who knows, it should be quite soon regardless. I've already covered them on the channel multiple times, talked about their resurrections, and we'll just go ahead and reuse these characters again before they get those set upgrades. Daddy Ichigo and Mummy Rukia is the term we use them, but they're known as 10-year later Ichigo and Rukia. These were the final manga characters to ever come out, and then we would not get a 1000-year blower banner for years later because the license expired for it until they did renew it before the anime started airing again. And yeah, we have gotten more 1000-year blower characters since then, but these two were supposedly the final batch of manga characters that they would give us until years later. With that being said, I don't expect any more 1000-year blower resurrections after this one. Technically, Yama, Yuha, and Aizen should be getting rezzed after this. But look, these characters are from part 2 of the Simp anniversary. Are we really going to jump right there when we still have the rest of 5th anniversary to go through? 6th Annie even? Like, that's just not happening. Let's be honest with you guys. We still need to get all the 2020 characters done, and then we can move into 2021. So don't expect those characters to be getting their resurrections anytime soon, and I don't think they're going to be coming for Core 4 either. So yeah, going over Daddy Ichigo, let's just go ahead and get right into the character. He was a Soul Reaper with Soul Reaper and Captain Killer. This was way before Very Hard Guild Quest was a thing, and even before Hard Guild Quest was a thing too. So like, he just came with the overall best set of skills and kit overall when this character first dropped in the game, such as having weaken and paralysis resistance. Complete status immunity was not given as often, as only 2 characters had it back then, being Mind Grammy and the Heart 1000-year blower Mayuri. And he just picked up Berserker 60%, a Bruiser of 40%, with Havoc of 20%, Frenzy +1, Bombardment +1, Enhancer, and Sprinter +2 with Marauder. Do keep in mind that the best cap that they had for damage was literally 60% Berserker with Frenzy +1. We didn't have any of the extra crazy skills such as full stamina damage boost, more damage to afflicted ailments, or any of that. We didn't have Frenzy +2. We didn't have the SP boost. So what this guy's gonna be picking up after his resurrection is going to be quite insane. And of course, he was the very first Mind character to get Marauder too, which is basically being able to nullify melee resistance and also having Guard Break built into the skill itself, and thus allowed him to age pretty nicely until Inheritance Trials came out. Did kind of hinder the character unless he had Killer, and yeah, he was a bit power crept, but still great to use in Guild Quest regardless as a booster. And with his resurrection dropping tomorrow, this guy is about to get 20% more strong attack damage inflicted at full stamina, which is really good. His Berserker remained unchanged, but he did get his Frenzy +1 changed into Frenzy +2. So now this character is going to be hitting significantly harder compared to when he first came out. And of course, getting Frenzy +2 means that his strong attacks are not hitting twice, but thrice. So you guys know what it is. And he also picked up Booster as part of the 6-star abilities. So now, with this, once you activate the SA2, you'll be able to get 43% extra focus onto the character and all of your other allies on the team, which is going to be very, very good to have. Now, that being said, the only throwaways that, in my opinion, could have been changed with something else is easily Bruiser and Damage Reduction. These 2 skills could have been easily swapped with more full stamina damage boost, potentially even damage to enemies not afflicted by an ailment, Pierce Iron Skin, and all that stuff. For now, for when it comes to co-op content, this guy's gonna be relatively fine in Link Slot Trials. Like, you're gonna be able to one-shot the enemy mobs with the stuff that he was given out, and you don't have to worry about Iron Skin as much. But let's say in the event we do get Inheritance Trials to come back for co-op. We've seen it for single player, but I kind of doubt it. Or we do get some kind of form of harder content. This Ichigo, if he's not duped up, he is going to struggle a teeny tiny bit overall because he just doesn't have the pure silent skin to back it up, nor the extra cracked multipliers. But this character, I'll definitely say, with his upgrades, I do see value for him in very hard guild quests and potentially even the nightmare difficulty, because if you compare his resurrection, it's pretty much almost on par with the tech 1000-year blower Byakuya, where he's an SP unit with a booster skill, but once you get Yuha to proc the ailments, Byakuya then does 40% more damage to weakened enemies. The only difference here lies in the fact that Byakuya doesn't have Havoc, whereas this guy does, and he also does not inflict status ailments. But because his DPS is now a lot better, with picking up Frenzy +2 and getting 20% more strong attack damage inflicted at full stam, I think that this guy can be a very viable side unit overall to use, especially if you're looking for a booster. If we were to take into consideration Tsushikai Ichigo, right? You're going to be running this Daddy Ichigo as a side unit, and then a damage buffer like Holobankai Toshiro for 40% more damage to element affected enemies. On Toshiro, you give him the Mugetsu link, you give this guy a bit more DPS, and with Tsushikai, I think that these two characters will be able to work together. Melee Captain, maybe. Like Unohana, I feel like is a bit more at a disadvantage because she doesn't have the increased element chance, and you want to have Akane and Shinji, but I feel like you can still use this Ichigo just fine. Of course, it's still going to be better to run Tenjiro overall, but it's going to be pretty darn valuable to use. So let's just leave it at that. And let me just say one thing. You guys more than likely are going to ask me, how can I get these characters? Simple. Only 1000-year blower banners, and whenever they do return as fillers. But thankfully, because these characters are going to be resurrected very soon, it comes with two benefits. Before the next batch of resurrections comes out, these two characters will be available as character packs. So for anyone that is still missing these characters overall, you guys can pick them up. You guys can go out of your way to purchase them and have them in your account. It's going to be a bit expensive though, 25 euros, but if they're new, it'll be worth the price because at the end of the day, you're just getting a lot of warps just from buying said character pack. And then once you have the unit, special move training grounds. With every single resurrected character, you'll be able to get 2 free special move levels up. So from the time you get Daddy Ichigo and Mommy Rukia, you can easily get them from 1.5 to 3.5. If you guys have them 3.5, you could easily get them to 5.5. And congratulations, you'll have both of the characters 5.5 max transcended, ready to go, and you'll have a lot of fun with the characters. Sorry if I did not include this initially, but I figure I may as well point it out now that we're gonna dive on into Ichigo and just use them. So getting right into single player link slot trials to use this character right here. This character will be a very fun unit to use because he has the 960 in front, full screen 1200 radius, and then a 3k length beam, albeit with a bit less width. It's 870 compared to your typical 1020, but other than that, the character is still going to be pretty fun. He'll be great to use in co-op. I am still curious to see how he'll do in Guild Quest, but that will be for when Melee Soul Reaper does come back, or potentially even Melee Captain, just to be able to use him. But yeah, the only downside to his resurrection as well is the fact that they didn't really change the innate abilities to change weaken and paralysis reduction into complete ailment immunity, and also give him the extra recharge when at full stam, just to benefit his SA2, because his SA2 does take a good whopping 20 seconds before you can even get to use it again. So yeah, that's about the only bad thing, but you do have a good SA1, a good SA3, so like for usability wise in co-op, he'll still be quite fine. Just a bit slow to use compared to most of the mine characters that we have in the game, but still an impressive character. Oh, I forgot to play the Soul Bomb. I might as well do that after this part right here. Hold on. But yeah, other than that, I'm very excited to use Daddy Ichigo, and we'll definitely do a showcase of him with his resurrection quite soon. Finally, Mummy Rukia. When this character came out, she was really, really good. It's for the stuff that she was made for, like guild quests and everything else. Even though the killers were different somewhat, 5th Annie Ichigo was still the better unit to use overall, with the fact that he had the really strong charge SA3 and weakening on his entire kit. And he just had a bit of an advantage over this character overall. But now, she's a Soul Reaper / Captain unit with the Ronker and Espada Killer. The reason people were summoning for this character in particular was for Espada Killer alone, because we didn't have a better lead to use. We just had a lot of different characters like Apache, Ninao, and this character was the best among the best. Until years later when we got Bruno, and yeah, that's all you guys really need to know. So, yeah. This character, funny enough, even though she was kind of a bit weaker than Daddy Ichigo because she did not have Marauder and the SA1 was a lunge forward, this character has actually aged a lot better as soon as Inheritance Trials dropped because of the simple matter of fact that she had the Bankai mechanic. And it's basically the EX move button, but once you use that EX move button, you transform into her Bankai state, and for 10 seconds after transforming, you do get the Disabler. Increased status element chance for 10 seconds after transformation, which is really good, allowed her to proc like crazy and be able to mop the floor in Inheritance Trials, and was one of the better aging power characters overall. Aged a bit better than 5th Annie Ichigo just for co-op content alone, which made it really easy. We didn't even have super potion farmers back then, and Inheritance Trials were hard as hell back then. The 6-star abilities, she pretty much got a similar set, just no Marauder, because she does have 60% strong attack damage, 20% bruiser, devastation of 40%. She also does have some stamina recovery when moving in between the quest areas, which I don't mind. I think it's actually pretty solid. Havoc of 20%, Frenzy +1, Debilitator of +5 seconds, damage to frozen enemies of 20%, which you can easily apply just by transforming, and Sprinter +1. So, yeah. What we really wanted this character to pick up is 50% SP boost, and yeah, just more damage just to make the character overall better. And what did she pick up with her resurrection? With her resurrection on her soul trait, she now has 20% more damage to frozen enemies. Now, in this case, a lot of people are looking at it from a bad standpoint because there's not that many freeze characters you can make usage out of besides Parasol Rukia. But look, usability-wise, this makes sense because don't forget, you do get the post-transformation 10-second disabler upon using the transformation mechanic. So you'll be able to apply that damage to frozen enemies with ease. Her 6-star abilities, pretty much most of the base DPS has been left unchanged, as you guys can see right here. She did not pick up Frenzy +2 like Daddy Ichigo. Now, if she picked up Frenzy +2, this character would have been competing with most of the end of month characters. And honestly, I still would have liked if she did pick up Frenzy +2 because she wasn't really replacing anyone if she got it. Like, she wasn't going to be replacing Swimsuit Bambi and Kilgay, and she definitely was not going to be replacing 9th Anniversary Kenpachi. But I digress, because look at what else she picked up. Her damage to frozen enemies got a little buff. It went up to 30%, so now she has 50% damage to frozen enemies, which you can apply with ease. And most importantly, 50% spiritual pressure boost. Godsend. 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 It's amazing. Definitely amazing. Now, the only sad part to this is she did not pick up Guard Break. So, when you're facing enemy mobs that aren't Ronkers, which they typically don't have melee guard, but anything else which is a Soul Reaper, you will have melee guard and you will get some of the damage reduced. Now, comparing this character to Soifun is a blasphemy, because Soifun doesn't have to worry about not having guard break because of the fact that right now content is too easy as it stands right now. And the only time she'll ever have that problem is probably going to be in Limit Breaker once you don't have that many rules active, and that's when you're going to notice the damage getting a little bit reduced. With Rukia, it's a bit of a different case because she only has Frenzy +1 at the end of the day, not Frenzy +2. Her multipliers are not as cracked as Soypon, and in the event we do see harder content, it'll be a bit noticeable. And also, we don't have that much content with our Ronker killers, if you guys have noticed. Like in Link Slot Trials, it isn't there. In some of the single-player quests, hold on. Yeah, just in single-player Link Slot Trials. So that's when you'll pretty much be using Rukia at her best without having to worry about melee guard. But in co-op, no. Limit Breaker quest sometimes, if you can get around to doing so, but besides that, you'll barely have the chance to use her at her 100% maximum potential. But I still like the Resurrection. I think it's actually pretty damn good, solid. Still marks it as one of the best Resurrections that we have in the game by far. And I still would have loved it if she still got that, though, because, come on. Characters like Bazby can get it, Grammy can get it, why not this character? But with all due respect, her Resurrection is still going to be by far the better one because, once again, better kit. Once you transform, you do get the 10-second disabler. You'll do much more damage than Bazby, Grammy, so yeah, this character is definitely going to be among the best Resurrections. And the crazy thing about both Daddy Ichigo and Mommy Rukia is I can actually put them back into the top 10 for their respective attributes, and I think not that many people will disagree because that's how good their Resurrections are going to be regardless. So yeah, another character I'm definitely looking forward to playing as is this character right here. This is the true Bankai Rukia, not the mind one for me. So yeah, let's get to using her. Getting right into the run itself. He has a 575 lunge, a 960 in front, and then a regular 1200 radius full screen. So yeah, just the SA1 is a bit weaker, but everything else about the kit is still really good. And then once you pop the Bankai mechanic, don't forget, you'll be able to proc raise with ease. And there we go. So yeah, once you transform, it's super easy to get the SP boost. It's super easy to keep up the damage to frozen enemies with ease. So yeah, but man, I'll definitely say I like the new one's model a lot better compared to this power one right here. Just because, you know, there's just a lot more effects for a model. It just looks a lot more clean, even though it's a bit more chibi. But yeah, you guys get the point. Whereas this one is just plain white. But still, this is Bankai Rukia. You get to play as her. It made sense that with the Mind one you couldn't because that was the Rukia that fought Asnod. This is the Rukia from 10 years after the 1,000-Year Blow War, where she mastered her Bankai and gets to completely utilize it. So, I forgot to play the Soul Bomb animation again, but I'm also very excited to use this character, man. You guys have no idea. Yep, that's Bankai Rukia for you. Now, that being said, I do want to give Rukia a shot in the Melee or Ronker Guild quest and see how far she can go up to with the fact that she will be max transcended and everything with her new Resurrection inbound. It'll be interesting to see what kind of numbers she can put up. Now, I did state that if she got Frenzy +2, she would still not be competing with 9th Anniversary Kenpachi. But if she did get it, compared to Bambietta and Kilgay overall, okay, I'm gonna have to rephrase that because now that I actually think about it, she just might have been better than Kilgay, maybe to some extent, even though her SA1 is gonna hold her back a bit, but because you do have the increased element chance against every single mob, and you would be able to use that to your advantage, you would be able to get the 50% damage to frozen enemies with ease, you would still have 60% Berserker, and you can pretty much plow through the quest a bit more with ease compared to Kilgay, and most people will probably have this character 5-5 compared to Kilgay, but compared to Swimsuit Bambi, where she has the extra GQ skills and whatnot, yeah, not really. But still, I would have loved to see if this character got Frenzy +2 like Daddy Ichigo, just to be on par. So, yeah, with this, I'm very curious to see how they will resurrect 5th Anniversary Ichigo in Byakuya, because now with this, I can see 5th Annie Ichigo getting a similar resurrection to Rukia, and Byakuya a similar resurrection to Ichigo. It'll be interesting to see whether it's going to be by this end of year banner or on January. So stay tuned for that. Thank you guys for watching. Hope to see you guys all in the next one. If you guys have enjoyed the video, don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and all that good stuff. The bell notification as well. This has been your boy, the Dash Smasher, and I am signing out. So Take care, lads. Peace out. Bye. Sayonara. Ciao, ciao.